Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Diaspora panel. This is the voice of the diaspora, and I have with me, as always, I have Mr. Olalawa all the way from Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me, and good day to all our viewers.
And I also have Mr. Olaitan Adedigba from the United States of America. Mr. Adedigba, you are also welcome.
It's my pleasure being here this afternoon. And
I am the Jola.
our viewers back at home, glad you are there.
My name is the Jalaya. I'm in the Republic of Ireland. So I want to say thank you to all our viewers and all our subscribers. And if you are one of our viewers, you have not yet subscribed, please click that button now. It's free of charge. It means when we do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. Today, we want to talk about the permutation, one of the permutations for 2027. Now, we are hearing that northern Nigerian politicians, they are plotting to remove Tinubu in 2027. And they are looking for a candidate who will only come to spend 4 years, just a single term. And they've looked right, they've looked left, they've looked everywhere, and they've zeroed in on only one person. And he is the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, who has already served one term, and he is only going to be able to spend only one more term. So they are thinking that if they go for Jonathan, it's safe because it can only spend only 4 years. So which means that the presidency can go back to the North in 2031. I'm going to start with you, Shupo. So the North is looking for a Mugu, somebody who can play their, who can dance to their tune, somebody they can use. Somebody is not like Tinubu who can stamp his foot down, put his foot down and say, this is how I want to run my government. These are the people I want around me. This is what I want to do. They want a Mugu. Somebody they can say, okay, press that button, press this button, sit down there, stand up, sit down. And they've zeroed in on Goodluck Jonathan. Do you think Goodluck Jonathan is a Mugu?
Absolutely not. And I think this is going to be one of the greatest miscalculations. If the idea is to try and find somebody that, in quotes, can be controlled, in place of Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the remaining 4 years, that's been zoned to the south before the presidency goes back to the north. I think one of the things that is probably not well documented and well mentioned that we all as Nigerians ought to give President Goodluck Jonathan credit for. He often doesn't get enough credit for it, is the fact that he did not put his own personal ambition before the country. Because in 2015, when the election was contested, he was probably the first in the history of Nigeria to quickly, call the declared winner, and I use the word very carefully, declared winner, to congratulate him and to begin the process of transitioning, to the then opposition that was declared to have won. Now, if you look at the opposition was not prepared to accept the result of that election. The opposition, as a matter of fact, as based on what we've heard, had prepared a militant group to forcefully take power if Goodluck Jonathan was not going to relinquish it. In the interest of peace and in the interest of having a stable democracy, President Goodluck Jonathan relinquished power, gave it to the APC, and we all know what has happened since the history of Nigeria since that election. The security situation has worsened. There were insurgencies during this time. So I think whoever is kind of plotting this as a way out will be in for a rude awakening that President Goodluck Jonathan maybe a peacemaker, but he's definitely not an idiot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Light on. Now, we saw in was that 2019, 2015, when the old North gang up together against Jonathan. They gang up together against Jonathan's second term. He said, you cannot use second term. So they're now ganging up to now give him that second term. So in 2015, Jonathan was stung, by the bee in the north. They stung him and got him out. Now they are bringing him back in. Do you think it's like what the Yoruba is called agekwejo? Do you think he's coming back to pay them back in their coin if he actually comes back? Do you think he's coming back to play according to their rule, or do you think he's coming back to hunt them?
The way Jonathan normally behave, right, and the type of person, his personality, I don't think that he will want to hurt anybody, right? But nonetheless, he will be a man of his words, knowing full well that he doesn't need any support from anybody again, right? Once he's not coming back the second time, so if he want to exercise his freedom this time around, instead of maybe facing the whole north, right? And it will not, I know it will not paint a saga of the northern part of the country, but I believe, right, like a gentleman he is, if we want to, behave normally and to the betterment of the whole Nigeria.
Right. Okay. So, Chukwu, the question we really have to ask is, can the North pull this off against Tinubu? If the North, for example, when we say the North, we're talking about the Northwest. I'm not sure whether the North Central will go along with them, because right now there's no longer one North. We know that in the North Central, their mind is open now. Most of them will either vote for a Christian candidate, which is normally Peter Obi, if Peter Obi is in the race, or they will find somebody else to vote for. They won't go along with the Northwest. Now, this Northeast, the vice president of Tinubu is from the Northeast, Shetimas is from the Northeast, so it's likely to gather votes from there. Atiku Abubakar from the Northeast, if he's contesting, is going to get votes from there. So let's assume that Atiku Abubakar is popping up to contest under one party, whether it's PDP or SDP or whatever. It's popping up somewhere, it's going to contest. Peter Obi is contesting either on PDP or on Labour Party is contesting. Tinubu is in APC. And then there's this Jonathan coalition backed by the Northwest. We know that the people in the South, the Ijaw, they are saying, oh, yeah, we are going to vote for Northern the next time. So let's assume there's a coalition between the Northwest and the South. And there's a coalition between the Southwest and the Northeast. And there's a coalition for the OB between the North Southeast and the North Central. How do you think it will play out?
Thank you very much. So I think first and foremost, to address the issue of the South voting with the North, I think Asari Dokubo has made it very clear. Is he angry with Tinubu? He absolutely is. Does he believe Tinubu is still his friend? He absolutely does. And when he was asked, fair and square, will he support Tinubu come 2027? He said he would. And I would like to hold him to his word. I think right now there are, things that are happening, but I have confidence that these issues will be resolved, before the 2027 election. I think, just to kind of address that first and foremost. Secondly, I think part of whether this coalition, or these coalitions, to kind of put it, will succeed also depends on what happens 2025, probably 2026. Because if the economy stabilizes, if prices of food and all that comes down, if the economy does a lot better, it will further consolidate the argument that Tinubu is probably the right man to continue with the reforms that he has done, with a couple of some of the other programs and plans that they have. If the tax bill goes through and all of these things, begin to show some fruits, it will be very, very difficult to say this administration, is not on the right path. I mean, a lot of the backlash that has happened, why the likes of El Rufai are, is basically because of the intense, period that has happened in the first years of the administration. So I think that is another second item to speak to. Now, finally, the only thing that can dislodge Tinubu in 2027 is one single consolidated coalition. When we have what we have right now, which are coalitions, because you've mentioned 3 names. You've mentioned Atiku. He hasn't said now whether he's going to contest, but knowing Atiku very well, I have absolute confidence that he will contest. There is Peter Obi, who has, kind of sort of said he's not leaving Labour Party. And I think that is actually the right decision, because if he can, resolve the issues in Labour Party and consolidate, his base, he will come across as being presidential. And then you have El Rufai, who technically cannot contest for the presidency, but is trying to align himself for 2031. And how is he going to do that? He is going to get somebody to contest on the platform of the SDP, that he will be his running mate, so that in 2031, he will be prepped and positioned, when the presidency will go back to the north. So we've mentioned 3 different candidates now so far in the race. Will Atiku drop his own ambitions and, align with either Labour Party with Obi, or align with El Rufai? We don't know. But what is very, very clear is that it doesn't look like Peter Obi is going along with El Rufai's antics. So if there is no single consolidated coalition, trust me, it is an APC win in 2027, because what will end up happening is that the opposition parties will, divide, votes that should be consolidated into a block amongst themselves, and that will be an easy win for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 2027.
Thank you. Thank you. Later, now we've seen Jonathan in the last few days criticizing the federal government, criticized Tinubu about the set of emergency declared in Lagos State. Now, we must understand Jonathan himself is an Ijaw man. So this must be something that really touched him. But anyway, he has started, campaigning by going against the federal government and, speaking against the federal government's policies. Do you think Jonathan should take the bait to compete against Tinubu? Or do you think he should stay back as an elder statesman that he is now, with a lot of respect? Should he stay back now and just allow the North, to do whatever they have to do so that they don't use him? Or do you think he should put himself in the fray and then face the consequences? What do you think he should do?
Don't forget, everybody, we have inordinate ambition. It was this guy that said it there, Dr. Abati. He said, before you get to Villa, the Aso Rock, you will have good intention, but when you get there, you sign to. Everybody wants to go there. Everybody wants to go there. That is why Rufai is permitting. But to me, if I were ex-president Jonathan, I will not take the bait from the Northerners. But especially considering the fact that Rufai, it doesn't. What he did when he was the governor of Kaduna State. So there's nothing. They can't do anything. They can't. Jonathan will contest and he will fail. Don't forget the middle betters. Now I saw them clamoring for Tinubu for second term. So the northeast, they will divide it into two. The northwest, they will divide it into two. So southwest, they will give him blood vote. Where south, he will get some votes in the south. So where is it? Why should Jonathan go and ridicule himself? Right? I would rather advise him if he had that intention, not to even contest, not to even go there. As a state man he is, right? He should just sit down. He's been silenced in all these things. I know normal human being will see, we know, I mean, considering the fact that he's a job man, his job was removed, his job was the governor. Fubara was a job man. So they will be just thinking, okay, why should we go and do this? Why should we go and do that? So I mean, I would rather advise him if I were his friend or his cohort. I would just advise him not to throw his cap into the ring contest.
Thank you so much. Shukwa,
Yeah.
this is going to be your final question. So now we saw what happened to the Southeast. In 2015, they voted against Buhari en masse, and they were left out of government. In 2019, they voted en masse against Buhari.
APC. Okay.
So in 2015, they voted en masse against Buhari, and in 2019, they voted against Buhari, and they were left out of government en masse. In 2023, they voted against Bola Ahmed Tinubu en masse, and now they've been left out of government. So, do you think the Northwest should reason differently? Because the game they are playing now, trying to play God, if they now gather together, all of them gather together in one basket and confront Buhari in 2023 and 2027, just like and voted en masse against Tinubu. If they lose, because if they go all out in 2027 to vote against Tinubu, they must make sure that they win. Because if they lose, the backlash will be so enormous. So do you think they should just calm down now, support Tinubu for the next for the second term, allow him to do another 4-year term after up to 2031, so that the Northwest and the Southwest can vote together again for another Fulani to take over from Tinubu? Or do you think they should go all headlong and throw themselves against Tinubu and then find out what will happen if they lose? What do you think they should do? What kind of advice will you be giving them?
So, as I said, I think a couple of weeks ago, that there are new coalitions that are in the making. I think how can you determine what the likely outcome would be? It is by looking at what has happened in the past. It will be very difficult for the Northwest, precisely anybody in the North now, to make an argument for Goodluck Jonathan, because the argument against him in 2015, though he eventually contested, was that he cannot run 2 terms. So what changed? Yeah. So that is one thing. Then the other issue also is that there may be issues now. If you look at the governors in the South, they are mostly PDP governors. The PDP as a political party is a weakened opposition, significantly weakened. They are not playing a good role, in pushing back against the Tinubu government. They are not offering the Nigerian people, better solutions, or at least, coming to the table with better policies. So, right now, if the legislative agenda that is being put forward by Tinubu succeeds, that is, goes through Parliament and begins to, give results. I'm talking about the tax bill, changing the structure of governance based on the 2025 biometric census and all of that, you are actually going to likely see defections from the PDP into the APC. That is my prediction. So unless the PDP is able to muzzle together themselves and come back into excuse me,
Yes,
a proper opposition party. I mean, if you look at the lawsuit that was filed against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, again, pertaining to the state of Nigeria, they looked like a pretty weakened bunch, just talking, but not really connecting with the people. So I believe, to be very honest, that the only person who has a deal at snatching this from Tinubu is Peter Obi. If he can consolidate his base in labor, work out an arrangement, amongst all aggrieved parties, keep the obedience, and then begin to reach out. I actually believe that he will probably be able to garner a lot more votes in the North Central. If he can add that, to his current Southeastern base. I doubt if he's going to be able to win Lagos again, but he might have a good showing. And then look at a few places. He has to reach out in the North to be able to get, So that Ijaw vote, if it does not end up eventually with Tinubu, will most likely go with Peter Obi, but not any candidate that Rufai will be the running mate for, because that is just totally going to decimate the opposition, and it will accomplish nothing but give Tinubu another 4 years.
Thank you. Light,
yeah.
If you are in Kano right now or in Kaduna, and you are to advise northern politicians either to give Tinubu another 4 years and then have Tinubu's support for a shift back to the north in 2031, just like he did for Buhari, or if they were to say no, we don't want Tinubu again, and then go against Tinubu, and then go and align themselves with the Jaws of the South. Now, they are trying to gamble now, because if they align with Tinubu, definitely Tinubu will win. Definitely. But if they align with somebody else and they took their vote to somebody else, they don't know whether Tinubu will win or lose. Now, if Tinubu now wins, they are going to be in trouble. So what advice would you be giving them? What do you think they should do?
Advice I can give them is that they should believe that Nigeria doesn't belong to the northern part of it. They should respect the gentleman agreement that they have. Not only that, their intention is they should try as much as possible to support Tinubu now. And if need be, we should look at in 2031, we should look at the southern part, the Igbos, the eastern part, right? They are part of the country, for God's sake. That is the more reason why we're having agitation all over every now and then. They should give them the chance to rule the country. It is not the northern, the northeast, northwest. They don't have the monopoly of governance. They should look at the north, the south, the southeast too, right? Where we are having agitation all over every now and then. Their son and should contest too. They are part of the system. They are part of Nigeria. That is my own case. They should make sure that they support Tinubu right now. So come 2031, then we can be thinking about, okay, where do we see power to? Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we come to the end of today's conversation. So I want to say a big thank you to you, Mr. Olaito Adediba, all the way from America. Thank you so much for coming to today's meeting.
Yeah, it's my pleasure being here this afternoon.
And to Mr. Ololawal, thank you so much for your contributions. You are well appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
To all our viewers, please, if you have not yet subscribed, please hit that button now. It means that when we do the next video, you'll be one of the first people to know about it. And please, if you like the video, please, we want to see your comment. Please put in your comment, share it, send it to your, and like the video if you like it. So I will see you again next week. God bless you. Goodbye.